Hello my lovelies. Okay, so today we're going to make an art journal out of cereal boxes. Here I have 2 large cereal boxes and some cereal bar boxes. I would say to make a decent sized art journal you will need 3 to 4 probably of these large size. I have 2 because apparently I eat a lot of these bars, so I have a lot of them to use up. You don't need to use cereal boxes if you are have other things around. I'm a contact lens wearer and I have these come through the post every month, so you can use them. If you buy a lot of shoes, use the shoe boxes. Whatever it is that you have, you can use. I have some additional materials here that I'm going to use that are all scrap items again. So this morning I received a parcel and it was wrapped in this plasticky stuff that is ridiculously hard to degrade, so I'm going to use that somehow, hopefully. This scrap wallpaper, some scrap papers that are left over from other projects, things that like that are stitched and cut up, and some vintage ephemera, whatever it is, however small it is, keep it and we'll use it. This is my box of scrap fabrics. These are small pieces, and then this is an old VHS box that I keep next to my sewing machine. So I then put in every single piece of however small the fabric is, I put it in there once I've finished the project. So we'll try and use them. And then here's my metal scrap box. You've got belt buckles, zipper pulls and things like that from old broken bags. These are metal items from belts. So anything that you have around your house you can use. These are all optional. You won't have exactly the same obviously, but you will find things around the house that you can use to jazz it up, because we want to make a pretty art journal. Okay, the first step is to pull apart the boxes so that they lay flat and put one of them aside for the cover. I'm going to use these tracker boxes because I have so many of them. If you don't have them, then maybe just the back of a cereal box will do. And then we're going to want to paint them. I found that with usual craft acrylics it takes about 3 coats to make sure that they're fully covered and nothing's coming through. What you're going to want to do is to paint all of the tabs up. Paint it all, because we are going to use every single scrap of it. Now if you don't want to paint your boxes yet, you don't have to, and you'll bind it and it will be a junk journal. But we're going to make an art journal as opposed to a junk journal, so we're painting them. So let's get to cracking. Okay, while our paint's drying onto the cover, what is going to happen is this is going to be the spine and these are going to be the 2 covers, because I've already got a hinge here, see? And what I'm going to do is put these tabs in, glue them down, because it's a waste to just cut them off when they could actually be used to reinforce the board somehow. And then I found this brown crafty type paper that's used to bulk up this box when I ordered some 12 by 12 papers. I'm going to really scrunch it up and stick it on with this PVA acid free glue so that it gives a really nice crunchy texture to the front, and also with the glue it will make it really sturdy. So off we go. Okay, so here is the journal cover, blue on the outside, and then on the inside I've decoupaged in the wallpaper, vintage atlas pages, scrapbooking papers, etc. Covered the whole thing in PVA glue and gel matte medium so that it's nice and crisp. So we are now ready to cut our pages and bind them into the journal. You will need to cut your pages to match the cover. This one with the width and the height is dictated by the tracker serial bar box, but if you've scored your own out of another serial box, obviously your measurements will be different to mine. Mine is 6 1/4 this way by 5 inches this way. I'm going to take it, or just over 5 inches, but I'm going to take it into 5 inches. And you may also want to take it in a fraction as well, because when you put the pages in, the centre pages of the signature will pop out a little bit. So if you want it nice and neat and within the cover as opposed to out of it, just take it in a few millimetres. Okay, so now we're ready to cut our papers. But what I want you to do is to take one of your serial boxes away. I'm going to take these 2 away because they're the small tracker boxes again. A way to add interesting elements into the journal once we've bound it. So take those away and then cut the remaining pages that you have. I've already cut 2 here to show you. So because this is 6 1/4 inches, the height is exactly the same and the width is 10 inches. The boards are cut, and what the serial boxes have given me is 6 pages. So what I'm going to do is 3 signatures of 2 pages, which will give, when it's folded over, 4 pages in each signature, and which in turn will give 8 sides in each signature to decorate. So keep all of your bits, as I said at the beginning of the video. We're going to use them, just put them to the side with your other board that you put to one side earlier. And what I'm going to use to bind it is this cotton yarn. Usually I would use wax linen thread, but I'm using this because this is what my grandmother gave me left over from her knitting. She'll either give it to me to use or it will go in the bin. So you use whatever you've got around the house. This is an eco journal, so shoelaces, garden twine, dental floss, whatever it is that you have, you can use. And we're going to do a really simple binding. I want this yarn to actually be quite decorative on the spine, and I'll show you what I mean by that at the end once it's all bound. So I'm going to sew all of the signatures into the cover individually using a very simple binding. If I show you here, the easiest way is for me to show you on here. I'm going to put 3 holes in the signatures because it's easy for you to see, but you can use any number of holes that you want to do this. You just need to make sure that the signature holes correspond directly to the cover. So just make sure they're the same measurements. I usually go bang in the middle and then 1 inch from the top and the bottom. And what is going to happen is, here's your cover, here's your signatures. I'm going to go from outside the cover because, like I said, I want the yarn to be on the outside. Usually I'll go in from the signature so that the binding is hidden in the book. But I'm going to go from the outside because I want to make it a feature, as I said. So I'm going to basically do this. All you've got to do is keep a figure 8 in your mind. That's all you need to do. If you wanted to put more holes here, you do exactly the same thing. You just go through like this, basically. So just a figure 8 like this. I'm going to get somebody to record it so that you can see it being done. Okay, so the book's bound and you're left with all these bits and those boards I asked to put to the side. So here's a rough estimate of what I generally did with my boards. The best way to be economical with your cardboard is to pick the bigger elements that you want to create first, and then obviously the smaller elements, if you want to cut shapes or things like that, use the little strips here rather than the bigger boards that can be used for actual elements. So like I made pockets like this, I decided I wanted to take them to the sewing machine and give 3 edges. These are the 3 edges that are going to be stuck down to make a pocket, and I decided to stitch them to make them look like a jeans pocket or something like that. that's just a mount board that's going to go on one of the pages and a few other pockets and things. While I was at the sewing machine, I decided to make these up out of the scrap fabric box. Just put this material that takes ink quite well on the top and stamp them. So I might put a few of these through the journal as well. So here is the finished journal. It's turned out quite heavy, I have to admit. On the third signature, I bound in these beads, these really chunky beads from broken jewellery, so that they kind of are like a hidden gem, because I like hidden things in the rough. These are an old necklace that I've had for about 10 years and never used. So they went on there to give some pretty dangles. Now, as I go through, the majority of pages I've tried to keep plain for whoever receives this journal to do what they want with, but there was so much boards and stuff that it seemed a shame not to use it. I've still got some left over, so try to keep it plain, see. And then this is a 1940s novel that I rebound. It was in 2 halves and I rebound it, and this is some of the pages that were left over. And I just stamped onto them. Just a circle punch tab. This is part of that wallpaper that I punched out with a pretty decorative border. You'll even see these diamonds throughout the journal, so I didn't want to waste them. And it's basically made 3 pages on one with the extra room on those tags. And I covered the wallpaper with these strips. This is part of a chandelier left over from a bohemian bedroom I had in my early 20s. Oops, daisy. More tags, more scrap and paper. Me trying to use up my grandmother's yarn here, basically, in a pink and orange page with a bookmark with more broken pieces of jewellery. This is part of a bracelet that I bought in Amsterdam about 10 years ago again. So they tried to keep them plain. You can see here I've even used the little scraps for tags just to hang off, put words on or whatever. Why not? You've got it there. More of the chandelier. This is a piece of the plastic packaging that I've used as a pocket within a pocket. So you've got some fabric, pockets, tags, and then some smaller ones, and a big pocket tag. I keep saying pocket. There's a label again. Tab, sorry. What's wrong with my words? Again, scrap piece of paper used. So this is basically a book made entirely from eco-friendly materials except for the paint. It's only the paint really that isn't. And if you can let me know how you use paint up when it's dried up and reuse it, that'll be terrific. But until then, we're going to have to suffer. This is one strip that I cut with decorative scissors and then wrapped around, and then covered this top bit with that piece of fabric scrap. and then the bottom bit with another, and just put more tags on. There are the diamond bits I was talking about, and finally the back page with another tag. So if you want to win this journal, head over to my blog. I'm automatically going to enter my members in the draw because, well, I haven't even done 10 posts yet and they've already signed up to be followers, so just as a thank you to them. So if you want to leave a comment on this blog post that will have this video on, then I'll enter you as well. So if you do both, basically, you'll get entered twice because I'm not going to mess around with pulling out names and stuff.